Hey guys, it's me, Professor STARSTAR. So, you may be wondering why I'm covering a kids show. Well, it's because I used to watch this show when I was younger. Also, why the heck not? So, let's get into it. Also, side note, I will be doing some redesigns for the Numberjacks, and I'll be sharing my thought process of making them later on. So, if you just came here for those, just stay tuned. Or skip to the timestamp on screen. Either way works for me. So, what is Numberjacks? Well, as stated before, it's a kids' show made by Chris Ellis in October of 2006. It follows the adventures of these creepy little number things called the Numberjacks that live in a couch. Basically, their whole thing is that whenever there's a problem, usually a math-related one, in the real world, the Numberjacks come and solve it with the power of math. Yay! Yippee! I love math. I really do. No, I'm kidding. I don't like math. Now let's talk about our cast because they're interesting. Obviously, we're starting with the Numberjacks themselves, despite the fact that I don't really like them. I don't know, they just don't stick with me much. Anyway, let's start with 0, 1, and 2. They're babies. I really don't know what else to say. Honestly, according to this, I'm pretty sure that this proves that the age of a Numberjack depends on what number they are. However, I don't exactly think it does. Because if that's the case, then 9 is canonically 9 years old, and personally, I feel she acts more mature than that, so, yeah. Now let's get to our main cast, which consists of 3, 4, 5, and 6. 3 is the youngest of the main cast. She doesn't go on missions much because, again, she's the youngest, and kind of acts like that as well, with her energy and all that. She also has this collection of various items that she calls her beautiful things, and to be honest, I personally have a collection of beautiful things myself, so yeah, I can relate. 4, the character who goes on the most missions, I don't know why, but he just goes on the most missions, and he just goes on more than anyone else. I don't know why he's so special, but okay. Yeah, also 3 and 4 have a sort of sibling dynamic which goes on, which I really like, however, all the Numberjacks are siblings, so I guess it makes sense. Meanwhile, 5 usually goes on missions with 3 and cares for the younger Numberjacks. She also has a lot of problems with Spooky Spoon, which is one of the meanies, and I'll get into her later. Also, I think that's pretty cool because that gives her, some depth as a character. Then there's 6, and, he kind of exists. I don't know. I never really cared about him at all, honestly. Now let's finally talk about the eldest Numberjacks, 7, 8, and 9, and, yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like they all have the same personality. 7 is the most unique out of them, I guess, but only because she likes painting, which, hey, differentiates her from 8 and 9, so that's good, I guess. Aside from that, 8, 7, and 9 are basically just role models for the Numberjacks. Oh, also I forgot to mention this, but apparently it's a rule for the Numberjacks that they can't be seen when leaving the couch. However, it's perfectly fine for them to be seen in the outside world, which it's only when they leave the couch that they're not allowed to be seen, which is kind of weird, honestly. If you can't be seen while going out of the couch, then how come it's perfectly fine for you to be seen while, just vibing in the outside world? I kind of feel, I feel that's weird. So anyways, now it's time for my favorite part of the video, talking about the meanies. But before we get to talking about them, who are the meanies? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, technically I asked because I just asked that question, but who the heck cares? I'm gonna talk about them anyway, and you can't do a damn thing about it. So, the meanies are basically the antagonists of this silly little cartoon. The first meanie we're going to be talking about is the Shapejaper, because she's my favorite character in the whole series. And yes, that in fact is a woman. I know it doesn't seem like it, but she is. Go with the times. Anyways, the Shapejaper is a floating purple ball thing that can change shape and usually causes shape-related problems. Apparently, she also doesn't speak normal English, so it's basically impossible to understand what she's saying. Although she does, say a few, English words sometimes. It's just that most of her dialogue is just random gibberish. Anyway, despite all that, I want you all to know that if I could adopt this little chaos child, I'd welcome her into my home with welcome arms and call her my precious angel baby. Because, like, that's what she is in my eyes. Even despite all the crimes she's committed. So anyways, let's now talk about the number taker, and well, he's very creepy to say the least. Basically, his whole thing is taking numbers using his special tools. And when I say taking numbers, that includes Numberjacks, which probably makes him the most dangerous meanie to say the least. And what he does with the numbers, I'm not really sure. Anyway, his special tools include things such as hooks, hoovers, automatic pickers, etc. He also has this alter ego called the Number Maker, which basically is the opposite of what he usually does. He's also the only meanie to be live action, not CGI, so yeah, that's cool, I guess. There's also the Puzzler, and he's even more creepy than the Number Taker. Seriously, this is literally just a scary looking floating head, like, who made this? Who made this? Anyway, as his name suggests, he causes problems that are more, puzzling. He also blows these bubble things out of his mouth, which is kind of creepy, and they trap the Numberjacks, which, yeah, that's weird. Whose idea was this? Then there's Spooky Spoon, whose theme song I like the most. And yes, I forgot to mention that all the meanies have their own villain song that plays when the Numberjacks figure out which meanie caused the problem they are trying to solve in a certain episode. Anyways, the Spooky Spoon is a spoon, obviously. She also particularly doesn't like 5. I don't know why, but these two hate each other the most. Also, she usually causes problems in which she mixes things up. Very vague, I know. Also, side note, is it just me? Or does her theme song give the vibe that it would be in a bunch of those edits? You know, like the ones with the CapCut templates and stuff? I'm so sorry, I do not know how to explain what I'm thinking better. Anyways, have a listen and you'll probably understand.
1, 2, 3, she's mean, she's bossy, she's very cruel. She thinks she's great, she thinks she's cool.
She's fantastic, but she thinks she's fantastic because she thinks she is spooky.
And lastly, there's the Problem Blob. He causes problems by spitting slime on things, which is gross. I really do not like that. In fact, I think I hate the Problem Blob more than the Number Taker and the Puzzler, because like at least they are somewhat entertaining to watch. Meanwhile, the Problem Blob is just disgusting. Okay, now you're probably wondering that now we've covered our whole cast, are we now going to get to explaining other stuff? The answer is no, because there are other things I need to enlighten you about. One of these things is the brain game machine. So, what is a brain game machine? Well, it's basically a machine that produces a substance of some sort called brain gain. And what it does is that it pretty much just scares the meanies away / hurts them. Oh, and it also fixes a problem that the meanies cause. However, it can only be used after finding out a pattern that a certain problem follows. Because I forgot to tell you this, but usually the problems have some sort of pattern to them. For example, in a game of 2 halves, the problem is that everything keeps getting split in half by the shape shaper. Once the Numberjacks finally understand that, they activate brain gain and the problem is solved. There's also these things called buddy blocks, and they're basically those cube math things in school if they were sentient. Then there are the agents. Their concept is pretty simple. They are children who help the Numberjacks on missions. They usually help by reporting problems for the Numberjacks to solve, helping them solve the problem itself, and by helping activate the brain gain machine. I'd also like to address the movie and the podcast. Yes, there's a movie and a podcast. Don't worry, they're not too important. The movie, called Seaside Adventure, is really just the average Numberjacks episode. However, it's way longer, obviously because it's a movie, and all the meanies are facing the Numberjacks. All of them. Not just one. And it also takes place on the beach, obviously, and also at the start of the movie, the meanies actually infect the agents. I mean, the Problem Blob to be specific, but, you know, that's cool, not gonna lie. Anyway, the podcast, or audio stories as they call it, are basically just regular Numberjacks episodes, but way more fast-paced and shorter. Like, seriously, so much happens within 1 minute in the audio stories. Anyway, let's get to talking about how literally every episode goes. So, for this section of the video, we'll be going over the episode Bad Circles. Why? Because why the heck not? Anyway, the episode starts with 3, 4, and 5 playing a game of some sort. Usually, the first few minutes is dedicated to the main cast just vibing, sometimes with the older or the younger Numberjacks, and usually having to do with the problem of the episode. After this, an agent calls in and reports that 2 children on the beach are having trouble playing with a frisbee because, oh no, the frisbee is stuck to one of the children's hands. He also reports other problems that are happening on said beach. So, our main cast sends out 6 to solve the problem. Then, our main cast figures out, with the help of the agents, that all the beach problems have to do with circles. Suddenly, another agent reports that some janitor's bucket is going, well, wrong. Then the Shape-Japer appears, and it's revealed that she's been making all the circles go bad. Don't worry, I still love her. Anyway, they play her theme song, and then even more circles go bad, while 6 is trying to find the Shape-Japer. Then, 5 says her famous line,
"Anything could happen,"
and thinks of what might happen if they don't stop the Shape-Japer. After that happens, the Shape-Japer makes the problem worse by cutting circles inside of objects so that they don't work anymore. 6 then, finally, finds the Shape-Japer, and our main cast and the agents activate the brain game machine to make so many circles that, and I quote, "they make the Shape-Japer go potty." 3 said that, by the way, so it makes sense. Also, I said it in a British accent because this is a British TV show, a British children's TV show. Anyway, that pretty much defeats the Shape-Japer, and everything is back to normal. 6 comes back to the couch, and they review everything that has happened in the episode. After that, they ask us, the audience, a question. This time, it's as if we, as humans, have any circles on us. And the episode ends. Now it's time for my redesigns. Just so you know, I'm not really trying to stick to the original designs that much, and I'm in no way trying to say that my versions are better than the canon designs. I'm just doing what I'd personally do if I was given the task of designing the characters for the show. So, if you don't like them, it's alright. Just comment down any criticisms you have about them. Oh, and also, please be nice about your criticisms because I do not feel like being clowned upon by others for some simple drawings. In fact, I don't really want anyone to be clowned upon for some simple drawings. So again, please be nice. Anyway, now let's talk about what I was thinking when drawing these redesigns. So firstly, let's state my issue that I find with the current Numberjacks, and it's that they're a little creepy and unsettling. Like, their human-like faces on number-shaped bodies is kind of scary. Like, the first result on YouTube when you search up the Numberjacks review, well, at least for me, is a video called "Why the Numberjacks Ruined My Childhood." Yeah, so that's obviously a problem. So the obvious solution is to make their faces less human, right? Well, yes, but that's not really what I'm doing here, mainly because that would be boring. And instead, I'm going to give them a full makeover. Why? Because that would be way more fun. So, here's my idea. We turn them into fairies. Why, you may ask? Well, I just felt like the idea of them not being allowed to be seen when leaving the couch and just living in the couch kind of gave fairy vibes for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it just did. If this actually gives fairy vibes, or if my obsession with bug-inspired characters is just spilling into these redesigns, we'll never know the true answer. But all I know is that I'm pretty sure I'm doing a decent job. Right? So anyway, another thing I did was add shapes to their antenna and wings. What I mean by that is like 4 has squares on his wings and antennae, and 5 has pentagons. Why? Because I feel like that'd be cool. It would also give an opportunity to teach the kids about shapes. Well, they already teach shapes, but what about heptagons, huh? 7-sided shapes, and nonagons, 9-sided shapes. I would probably known about them earlier if they actually taught us about them in preschool shows and kindergarten, but that's not why I did it. I literally just did it because I thought it'd be a fun detail. Another thing I tried to do is incorporate each Numberjack's number into their hair, so, hey, at least I did something right, I think. So, what do I mean by this? Well, let's look at an example. You see how Five's ponytail actually looks like the number 5? Yeah, that's what I meant. I also gave them all gloves to make them more, I don't know, unified, if that makes sense. Also because, like, they all go on, you know, adventures in the outside world to, like, stop the meanies, so I thought that'd be fitting. And, I kind of forgot to give 2 gloves, and I didn't give 0 gloves because, I mean, he's the youngest of all the Numberjacks, and he's basically, like, what, 5 months at least? Yeah, personally, I don't really like how 5 and 6 turned out. I mean, I like what I did with Five's hair, and I like what I did with, like, half of 6's outfit, but I don't know, something about them doesn't sit right with me. Don't know why. I might try to, like, redesign 5 in, like, the future, but I don't think I might do that for 6 because, I don't know. I don't know how to redeem 5. I mean, I don't know how to redeem 6. Why did I almost say 5? Anyway, we are at the end of the video, so it's time for my final thoughts. So, what do I think about Numberjacks? Well, it was okay, I guess. I don't really have any memories of enjoying this show when I was younger. All I remember is that I watched it, and I was like, whatever about it. I like it. There's colors and stimulation, my favorite things. Personally, my only critiques are the character designs and how some of the characters feel like a little flat. Yeah, that's basically it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!